Hey, it's Chris Gio, founder of Merchant Method, and I am especially thrilled that you've decided to join me this week. So, if you have been following me on this blog weekly, you are familiar with retail trend reports. And in those reports, I combine relevant industry news with signature experience-based training. And I'm really excited to let you know that I am pairing these really relevant business activities with a field guide. And I'm excited to more formally announce Retail Shift, Field Notes on Retail Success. Now, these are my personal field notes across 18 years of working in the retail industry as a retailer, as an educator, as a customer. And if you are newer to field notes, or if you've heard about field notes but are not quite sure what they are qualitative notes recorded in the course of field research. And qualitative notes differ from quantitative notes in that quantitative notes are numeric data that quantify, measure, analyze in a more scientific way. Qualitative notes really describe the quality of observations. Sometimes it is describing a look, a feel, a sound, a feeling. And field notes are recorded either in the moment or they can be recorded after the fact, after a very specific phenomenon has been observed. And in this case, in our case, this specific phenomenon, these field notes are around this industry that we know and that we love, this industry of retail. And not only is there a huge shift in retailing, but Retail Shift as a podcast is intended to be shared. These field notes are being shared from me to you, between you and another fellow retailer or another supporter of independent small businesses. They're meant to be experienced as evidence that really gives meaning and helps us better understand this industry that we love. So, who am I? In addition to being the founder of Merchant Method and a consultant, I grew up in an entrepreneurial household. My parents each worked full time as engineers. I come from a huge family of engineers, and each parent owned their own small business. And I knew growing up I wanted to be an entrepreneur of some type, and I thought I'd work in fashion. Now, with hindsight, I can see that to me, fashion meant retail, but I didn't have a whole lot of context for retail as an industry or retail as a job before I went away to college. So off I went to college and I went to study entrepreneurship and new and small business management. Really, really specific things. One of the things that you probably already figured out about me is that I'm very committed, deeply committed to a more narrow set of professional curiosities and professional interests. So I got into small business management, and while studying in college, I got really involved with educating and supporting micro business owners and micro enterprise entrepreneurs in the late 90s. And that deep passion, that commitment, all of that volunteering, that work study, it really led me to understand the responsibility of running a sustainable organization. I had such a great model to really learn from in that it is a nonprofit teaching entrepreneurial mindset and entrepreneurial skills founded by and operated by and supported by business folks. And I knew after graduation I wanted to cut my teeth in the corporate retail world so that when it was time for me to eventually start Merchant Method, I had some chops and I would be able to do it in a way that was both sustainable and responsible. So since that time, since being introduced to and involved with micro business and micro enterprise, I've had so many jobs since since then, and I even had a few jobs before college, and they have all come to shape how I understand retail, how I support it as a consultant, as an educator, as a consumer, and how I influence the industry as someone who's hugely passionate about the humanity in the experience of buying and selling, the humanity of being a merchant. So here's what you can expect during these summer months and these weekly Retail Shift podcasts. So the field notes are going to cover a wide array of observations because 18 years is a long time to observe things. And I've had many, many jobs in the retail industry, as is the nature of the industry. So these episodes will cover things like lessons that I've learned. And I have learned many milestone moments, words that ring in my ears, like very specific phrases that still ring true. I would be remiss if I didn't describe the quality of my most meaningful customer connections, as well as like an assortment of my own personal curiosities and ideas and hopes. I also hope to answer your questions. So if you have a question about your business and your life, or this mythical work-life mix, about being a person who runs a product-based, inventory-based business, please submit your question. If you go to merchantmethod.com/retail trends, you will find this drop-down menu where you can submit a question. Now, this shift, this literal shift in content, was really inspired by a couple of things. First, you should know, and I hope you know, that I'm deeply committed to helping independent retailers and makers create not only the dream business, but also the dream job. I firmly believe that you and your business can thrive in equal proportions. And it's also inspired by two things that happened in tandem. The first is that I was being challenged by my wonderful copywriter to share more about my personal professional experiences. Not my, personal curiosities and personal interests, but just to share more about myself. If you know me, or if you yourself are an extroverted introvert, you will be familiar with liking to be success adjacent. It's what I call success adjacency. It's that I don't like being in the spotlight, but I love, love, love helping my clients succeed. I love seeing other small businesses succeed. I love getting inspired by other retailers that do it well. Retailers of all locations, all histories, all industries, all sizes. I love being inspired by others. So my copywriter was challenging me to share more about my professional past. My professional past, it sounds so sordid, but it's deep. There's a lot of time working in the retail industry in there. But also, at the same time that she was asking me that question and challenging me, I was working with my family on a personal project in that we were doing some very sincere spring cleaning. And by that, I mean, my father-in-law says moving is the sincerest form of cleaning. And I found no truer words around cleaning to be true. And sometimes you don't need to move from one address to another. When we started this project, I didn't want that to be true. I wanted to be able to move around and within this same space and see and experience it all with a refreshed perspective. And in doing this, quote unquote, sincere spring cleaning, I've unearthed, and I know I will continue to unearth, some pretty epic professional artifacts that have personified and that quickly bring back all of those professional lessons that my copywriter was challenging me to share. And so enhancing the trend reports that will remain relevant, you guys, enhancing the trend reports with field notes seem to be the most natural thing to do next. So here's how to make sure that you stay with me and that you follow along. And this is my one holdover, hopefully my only one holdover from Retail Trend Reports. And it's my ask of you, or your homework assignment. I am the type that gives homework your homework assignment. Subscribe. Subscribe to the Retail Shift podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And I'll ask you if you like what you hear, if something resonates, if you want to hear more, there's a few things you can do. You can leave a rating or a comment, or if you feel called to, share it with another retailer. Share it with a friend who loves to support independent retail and makers. I'm really, really excited to take you on this journey. I'm really excited to share my observations and these field notes with you. My hope is that you find retail success as well. Remember, I firmly believe that you and your business can thrive in equal proportion. Thank you so much. This is Chris Gio for Merchant Method, and I cannot wait to join you next week.